भगवान श्री योगी राम सूरत कुमार की जय। योगी राम सूरत कुमार, योगी राम सूरत कुमार, योगी राम सूरत कुमार, जय गुरु राया। योगी राम सूरत कुमार, योगी राम सूरत कुमार, योगी राम सूरत कुमार, जय गुरु राया। योगी राम सूरत कुमार, योगी राम सूरत कुमार, योगी राम सूरत कुमार, जय गुरु राया। योगी राम सूरत कुमार, योगी राम सूरत कुमार, योगी राम सूरत योगी राम सूरत कुमार योगी राम सूरत कुमार योगी राम सूरत कुमार जय गुरु राया योगी राम सूरत कुमार योगी राम सूरत कुमार भगवान श्री योगी राम सूरत कुमार की जय। सर्वं योगी राम सूरत कुमारार्पणमस्तु। Our grateful pranams to the holy lotus feet of our Bhagwan with the offering of the Nama lotuses for this fortune of chanting his name together in his powerful shrine. But for his grace, this would not have been possible at all. Now, we have been sharing the stories that I used to read out to Bhagwan, which he of course relished, enjoyed it. And each one has some teaching that we have to learn from. Now here is one more story, and today we are reaching the 800th sharing, and I feel that we should give a little rest for some time to come. And so, with today, chanting and satsang, it will be over. From tomorrow, chanting will continue, both in the morning and in the evening, but there would be no satsang, only the prayer. Now the story runs as follows. There was a man who wanted to catch some wildlife in his camera. So he started to go into the forest, as he had done many such expeditions before. He felt free and unafraid to go into the forest. And he came across such beautiful scenes of these wild animals. And in the process, he got so absorbed, he went a little deeper. And then he got the shock of his life when he heard the sound of a tiger just a little away, ready to pounce on him. You can imagine his plight. He started to run, literally for life. He ran, and of course, the tiger began to chase him. After he ran a little distance, he was breathless and he wanted to find some refuge somewhere to escape from the attention of the tiger. He saw a well and he knew that the tiger may not jump into it. So he came to the well. Without looking down, he jumped into it. There was no water. So as he was coming down so fast, suddenly he found that there was a black snake, a poisonous snake, waiting down there at the bottom of the well. There was no water. Now, once again, this was a shock, and he didn't know how to save himself. But suddenly he found the root of a plant that was coming out of a little space in the wall of the well. And it seemed strong enough, so he held on to that. He was in the midway, holding desperately the root of this plant. Now he was hanging. He looked up. The tiger had come to the edge of the well, looking down, was exploring his chances to jump into the well. And here down there, the snake was waiting. It looked up and was hissing out from there. Just a little distance to his foot, and the tiger was just a little distance away from his hand. In any case, he thought he was a little safe, at least for the moment, until he found another way out. And suddenly, out of nowhere, there was a hole in the wall of the well, out of which 2 rats came out. Probably that's why the snake found its way to the bottom, because of these rats. And that is when he noticed that the roots were already half eaten and it was slender. And again, the chances were minimal that he would survive at all. And what's more, these 2 rats, to his horror and dismay, they began to bite into the root. So now there is absolutely no way to escape. And how long he could hold on to that? He looked up, looked down, and the rats were getting very busy. Now what to do? Suddenly, the tiger was making one more effort to paw at him, and in so doing, it moved a little violently, and there was a tree, not very strong, not very slender either, and the tree got shaken up. There was a beehive on one of the branches. It broke, and then the honey started to ooze out. Now it came straight over his head, and the man forgot the tiger up there, and the poisonous snake down there, and the rats that were eating up the roots. All he could think of was that honey, that sweet honey, and he held his head in such a way that it would fall onto his tongue. He started to enjoy it. Now the story ended here. It was meant to say that amidst all the dangers of life, man still would enjoy even the little comfort that he would get. That is the attachment of the man to the world. But then there was a Mahatma who continued the story. He said, in such a state, even as he enjoyed the drops of honey that fell onto his tongue, the honey strangely reminded him of the name of the divine. He remembered a friend of his mentioning the name of the divine, and suddenly he knew that was the only way out. And he started to scream the name, the divine name. And his scream was so sudden that it startled the tiger up there. And the tiger was about to jump, about to reach out for his hand. And this shook the tiger further, and it kind of collapsed and fell into the well. It missed its target, this man, and it fell straight into the well unceremoniously. And it so happened, it fell on the snake, and the snake got crushed by the weight of the tiger, and it died. And of course, the tiger, for its part, the well was very deep, and falling down such a drop was very dangerous, and it also met with death. Just at the scream of the divine name, the tiger was misled and it fell down. It died, and the snake also died. And the rats, in a moment, they were also startled. They did not expect these things to happen, and they ran away, leaving the root there. So the man slowly climbed up and came out and thanked God. He knew instantly it was the name that did the magic. So one could come out of such a dangerous situation, which all of a sudden developed, and he was unable to help himself. But one scream of the divine name, and things happened very quickly and one after the other, and the situation completely reversed. Such is the glory of the name. That's how the Mahatma ended the story. The story of the Nama's glory. We shall remember this because every one of us, at some time or the other in life, feel ourselves caught in such a situation helplessly, and there would be simply no way out of it. And that's when many of us turn to God. And if we are lucky, we would scream that name too, and that would completely reverse the situation. I remember the story. There are many, many such stories where in a crisis, how Bhagwan came to the rescue of people at the mere screaming of his name. I remember particularly how a man met with a great loss of fortune, that he had piled up lots of debts, and there was no way to escape from the debtors. They were coming there every day. They would stand before his house and shout. It was very humiliating, day after day after day, and there were phone call after phone call. He was flooded with all these threats and screams from those debtors. and there was nothing at all in the house. He had given away so much money to so many people, but none of them returned because some bad karma of the past was playing up. He did not get any help at all from any source. And that's when he suddenly remembered the Panka Baba, Yogi Ram Sarit Kumar. He decided to commit suicide, and then he thought he would do one good deed before committing the suicide. There was some milk left in the house, and he took it in a vessel, rushed out, and walked towards Bhagwan Sannadhi Street house. At that time, Bhagwan had also come out because he knew always when somebody was in trouble. He came out promptly even before the man reached him, and Shri Perumal Raju was with him. So they were moving towards a temple when this man was seen at a little distance, very anxious to reach Bhagwan before it was too late. He came very fast with a gesture of offering the milk. But even at a distance, Bhagwan was alarmed. He just stopped there and began to shout at this man so harshly, "Stop it, stop it. This beggar doesn't want it. You drink up the milk and go away from me. Go away, go away." Bhagwan was literally chasing him out. Shri Perumal Raju was a little shocked, but then he knew better in his experience with Bhagwan that Bhagwan would not do anything without any purpose or meaning. All the same, the thoughts came to him. That man looked so desperate, but all that Bhagwan was doing was asking him to go away. Bhagwan always knew everybody's thoughts. He said Perumal Raju is thinking that this beggar is being very harsh to him. Perumal Raju, a doctor gives suitable medicine according to the disease. And this is what this beggar did. And then Bhagwan kept quiet. Of course, Shri Perumal Raju did not know what to make of it, but he understood whatever was done by Bhagwan was the best that could happen in the circumstances, and it had its bearing. It must be for the greater good of the man. And then after some days, when Perumal Raju returned to Tiruvannamalai again to have darshan of Bhagwan, it happened by the divine will of Bhagwan that as he was coming through the lane, he met this man. Now this man looked completely different. He looked very enthusiastic. He was smiling as though his good fortune had returned. And then, of course, the man recognized Shri Perumal Raju and rushed to him and said, "Oh, you were there with Swami on that day?" Of course, Shri Perumal Raju wanted to know the details, but the man started to describe. He said, "After Swami chased away, I drank up the milk because he was so harsh and angry, and I had to do it immediately. And then after that, I went back home. Now the thought of suicide was completely gone. And what was more, as I reached my home, there was this man standing there with a bundle of currency notes. He was returning 5 lakhs, which I had given him quite some time back. Of course, this man had his own story, how he got this money and how he wanted to return it. But just see the timing. He said, Swami, had not the Swami been very harsh to me that day, I would not have easily returned to my house. His anger made me drink that milk, and after that, the thought of suicide left me, and out of fear, I rushed back home. And here, this fortune was waiting. He said, it's completely Bhagwan's grace that he owes his life to. So, you see, when we are very desperate, we call out the name with our entire being because we are desperate. We want a way out. And there would be immediate magic response from the divine. There are stories and stories like this, and one can go on narrating. But we shall stop with this because the story says enough and more. We shall now offer our today's prayer at the lotus feet of Bhagwan by begging again and again, 1,000,000 times, for his immediate divine intervention to bring forth a dharmic normalcy in all aspects of life to this world, to the world today, where there is disharmony. Bhagwan, please bring harmony. Where there is disorder and chaos, order and peace. And instead of growing enmity, growing friendship and brotherhood and mutual help and understanding. Bhagwan, there is so much of violence in today's world and growing enmity between groups and groups, countries and countries, and there is already the war going on. And of course, there are these violent, deadly diseases attacking us all of a sudden. And then the furies of nature. Only you, the cosmic controller, can bring them under control and establish once again this peace and harmony in this world. We beg you to uproot all the negativities of the human mind that are responsible for today's violent world. We also beg you to reach out to all those people who have been stranded in varied parts of the world for some reason or the other and find themselves unable to get help or protection. They might belong to a different country, speak different language, and would have adopted a different religion, and yet they need your grace. And we beg you to do the needful, give them help and protection. We also beg you to give help and protection to those unselfish people who have been working very hard for the sake of the others. Protection from what? From disparaging remarks, unhealthy remarks from people, reproaches and aspersion. We beg you again to promote the economy of the country and the growth to their heights in varied fields of activity, which include science, technology, arts, culture and spirituality. Bhagwan, that this country, the land of the great masters, the Punya Bhumi, the Veda Bhumi, should become the world teacher, guiding the whole world in the path of Dharma. We beg you again, we pray to you in all intensity, earnestness and sincerity, for ceaseless chanting of your powerful name and unbroken remembrance of your leelas and teachings. Please bless us to digest and assimilate them so that they would come out naturally as sattvic activities. Bhagwan, please bless us to be sattvic instruments in your hands. We don't want to be tamasic or rajasic instruments. We don't want to be Duryodanas, Ravanas and Kamsas. And please bless us to run our everyday life as an offering to you and not be caught by the snares of Maya. We seek that ultimate peace and bliss which the great ones say is our birthright. But then we need to be purified. We take refuge in your powerful name, and it ceases chanting with joy. We take refuge in your joyful service, be it small or big, and that without any unhealthy competition or jealousy, in the spirit of surrender to you. And above all, the practice of acceptance of whatever life brings to us, be it a joy or sorrow, coming from you can only be a great blessing, meant for our greater good and closer kinship with God. As we get more and more purified, we will be able to detect your living, vibrant presence everywhere and everything. And Bhagavan, please enable us to see your sankalpa, your will, behind all actions, all the happenings of the world. And above all, we should be able to detect that hidden grace even in the most disastrous, ruinous sufferings of life. Instead of moving away from you, thinking that you have let us down, and putting the blame on everyone around for our own failures, little do we realize that it's we who invited these sufferings, these adversities. Bhagavan, you have promised for those who chant your name and do your service, that your Supreme Father would convert all the difficulties into great blessings. We beg you to bless us, to be grateful to you even for the adversities of life. We also beg you for blessings for all the species of the cosmos, in whatever state of being, in whatever state of misery they are, to be lifted to a higher plane. And finally, we seek liberation from the vicious cycle of births and deaths, from the tyranny of the ego, the I and mind that rule everybody's life, so that we be blessed with that immortal life, that eternal living, and eternal servitude to you, that supreme cosmic entity. Jai Yogi Ram Sarat Kumar.